Capitalism and the State. That Eric Larson wrote a piece called "The Operating System: The Modern Theory of the State," um, which talks about the state as a political, social, cultural, and economic entity conceived and established by humans that controls the functions and relations of human society, the economy, and nature. Um, in theory, this could provide some level of safety and stability and shared identity and well-being, but that's not how it works, right? And if you go back to early capitalists, right, the early liberal, early traditional classical liberals, the founding people that were behind the economic and political theory of capitalism, they saw it as a way to provide a level of a safety net, to provide a shared identity, to provide for the well-being of people. But it was almost immediately, if we take those thinkers in good faith, it almost immediately showed itself to not be that, right? It almost immediately showed itself, like we said on the last slide, to always put private property, private wealth, private production over the needs of the people. And then once established, the state absorbs and regulates and extracts values from all social activities, right? Very little in our world is not commodified. Um, we're on right now, right? We are broadcasting onto, and people are watching on social media networks where we are actually the commodity, right? Where our data, our lives, the things that we post about, the pictures we share, all of that is actually that's the commodity that they're after. They want to know about us so they can advertise to us. And Larson said the state was the original capitalist, and it remains the greatest. It aspires to incorporate every inch and corner of society over which it presides into a vast wealth-producing machine. And the look at the United States government shows you exactly that, right? A government that is designed and strives to capitalize on every part of our society. The government does not like areas to be outside of their control, and that's not there's obvious manifestations of that right now, like the attack on reproductive rights, the attack on trans rights in the LGBTQI community, the attack on diversity programs, and things like that. So there's obvious parts of that on the right, but it also exists within the subjective left in the United States, which is actually the Democratic Party is actually a center right, a right wing party. So there's the economics come to dominate society, and they focus on squeezing all value out for capital and the state. And we people are worthless if we don't have economic worth. If we aren't producing, and that is very clear in our society, right? Right now, we have a debt ceiling crisis, and the Republicans are trying to attach work requirements to various social problems as part of a deal to increase our debt limit, right? So it's playing out right now. If you aren't working, if you aren't producing profits for your boss, under capitalist perspectives, you don't have any worth, and therefore don't have a right to life, don't have a right to these basic things. The state claims a monopoly on determining personhood and the use of force and violence. Absolutely true. The state is the sole purveyor of violence, right? The people rise, and that includes violence outside of just physical violence, but also economic violence and psychological and social violence. The state is the only, per capitalist thought, the only legitimate purveyor of those things. Should we stand up for ourselves, then we are being violent, and that is not okay. But when the state does it, when the state cracks down, when the state has oppressive laws and things like that, then it's okay because it's the state. The state is taking a totality of our society. And then Larson identifies 6 evolutions of the state. The modern neoliberal and social democratic states grew out of the nation state, which grew out of monarchies and commercial oligarchies, right? So, and this, Marx talks about this too, right? The ever stepping, evolution of how we get to capitalism. And it's almost, Marx is to the point that with these steps, that there are, he felt that capitalism was almost essential to lead us to socialism. We needed that. It was part of the process. But capitalism and the state evolved in tandem, to extract more and more and maintain, a resistance to revolutionary action. The state provides that centralized power to defend capitalism.